our podcast, Eligible In, where we feature eligible guests that you can date. My name is Coco, and I am your host. And today we are here with Anil. As always, if you enjoy the conversation, please give us a follow on social media and be sure to subscribe to us on your preferred podcast platform so you're notified when the new episodes drop. Hey, Anil, how's it going?
It's been a day, but I'm good.
No, we hate that. Well, it is almost the weekend and it's almost another holiday, so at least there's that.
Well, that's why it's busy. So just
Yeah,
cramming
I'm
it in
sure.
before.
Okay, we're just gonna jump into some quick, getting to know you questions, just like you would on a first date. So, tell us about where you're from, what you do for work.
Okay. I split my time between New York City and the Hudson Valley. So I am a New Yorker, and currently I do media production in different forms. So currently I'm in a law firm doing sort of teleconferencing and corporate media productions, but I also freelance on the side. So
Cool. What do you do? Like, is there any particular thing you like doing for freelance work?
I spent a lot of time with musicians. So I've been to more or less every club in New York City. I'm currently working with a R&B singer now, trying to expand my portfolio, get some other clients, and I'm writing my own scripts at the moment.
Cool. And are you just doing performance recording for them? Are you doing any sort of music video kind of stuff or a little bit of everything?
It depends on the client, but I spent a lot of time with live performance. And this one particular client I have, I'm focusing more on music videos for him.
Cool. That's awesome. Any artists that you've worked with over the years that you've become big fans with?
I mean, my current client is my longest one. So I really like, he's a close friend of mine now.
Mm,
Funny enough, when the George Floyd protests were happening, I lost his number. And then when those protests started happening, he actually called my number. I didn't know who it was. And so
mm.
I got to reconnect with him. And so I've been working with him since then. I think that's like maybe it's more than 4 years, probably
Yeah,
6 years.
5 years at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's sort of, it sounds cliche, but I'm kind of a fan of everyone I work with. I tend to be a little picky that way. And
Mm,
I've got to meet some cool people. Like some people I've worked with have gone. This one singer, she went out to Cali to work with Dr. Dre. Another guy, he ended up opening for like Wu-Tang Clan whenever they're in Brooklyn. So like these people, they level up, and it's nice to be a part of that. Even if it's not a crucial element, just being in their presence and seeing them later to be who they are and how far they've come is actually pretty rewarding.
yeah, that sounds really cool. And that's amazing that you get to work with. I mean, of course, it's New York, so I'm sure there's just a range of artists out there, which is awesome.
I've met a few, like I've met Jazzy Joyce, but I've also met other people randomly. Like I did a gig and R.L. Stein was there, and it's like,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just run into people, and you wonder, oh wow, this is life, huh?
Right, right. Yeah, you just never know who you're gonna run into, I guess. Okay, so I know you said you're like picky in that way and that you like all of the people that you work with. Would you say you're the same with dating?
I think I need more clarification. Like, in what way do you mean?
Like, do you like when you're dating, like whatever your preferred way is, like I know most people do it on the apps this way or, usually, but like are you just kind of swiping and looking for whoever matches and whatever hits, or are you more intentional of essentially what you want and kind of who you're looking for, what kind of traits you're looking for in a person?
Yeah, I hate the apps, but it's kind of the only option right now.
Yeah.
But I hate the time I spend on them, but I do read the profiles, look at the answers and the photos themselves. Like I can
Mm,
be a little picky in that way. Plus I'm trying not to pay for them, so they only give you like you only get like maybe 10 free swipes or something.
yeah. Yeah, fair.
I have to be discerning.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of good in that way and that if you're not paying for it, you only have a certain amount of stuff, so you really do I've never thought about it that in that way of, like, it kind of forces you to be more discerning and picky about who you're swiping on.
I feel like that's more common, but if it's not, I mean, that's just how I see it. Like, I don't wanna keep paying for something, and because 'cause I'm not on the apps every day or anything either, so
Mm.
why would I pay for something I'm not gonna use like that?
Right, right, exactly. So, what has dating in New York been like? Because I know you said you split time between NYC and the Hudson Valley. So, have you dated outside of the actual city? Have you found any differences in the people? Have you had better luck in one place or another?
I've had good quality dates, like higher quality, sort of near the Hudson Valley, but the city has the volume, like the higher volume of people. There's just more people, more chances. I'd say it's kind of a, what do you call it, opportunity cost or something like that? Like, you kinda just have to take one with the other. So,
Sure. Yeah.
I like to say there's more chances in the city, and I kinda prefer that, but the dates I've had in, the Hudson Valley were very like, I still remember them very vividly, and those particular people I've gone out with, yeah.
Yeah. Um what were those dates like? Like, what were the things about those people or those date experiences that made them so memorable?
Well, I like to do like a traditional, not a traditional, I guess, but I like to do this Americana type of thing. So it's like bowling or a carnival and then like dinner at a diner, right? So
Okay.
you spend like maybe you play 3 or 4 games or you spend the whole night at the carnival and then you do like a nightcap in the diner.
Mhm.
And the time just flies. Whereas in the city, you have to curate it a little bit better, or you have to be more intentional about it. And then
Mm.
there's something about the way the time passes in the city that is sort of, I don't know, like you don't get to connect as fully. So
Mm.
anytime I've gone upstate, it's been really meditative and very mindful. A lot of like my presence is fully dedicated to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
That's
appreciate that.
fun.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's underrated, so and that's my style, right? But, people have their preferences.
Right. Right. Yeah, I don't know that I've never ever gone to a carnival on a first date, but it does sound fun. I do like carnivals. I guess if you don't like carnivals, it can be a problem, but
But who doesn't if they don't like a carnival, you shouldn't go with them. That's kind of
well,
the
and there you go, and that's part of your criteria.
fair enough, yes.
So outside of you doing kind of media production stuff and loving carnivals, do you have any other hobbies or anything that interests you outside of like a work or dating environment?
So I mean, I take media a lot with me. I have most those Moleskine notebooks, like the hardcovers, always
Yeah,
writing.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm always writing something in them about ideas. I'll do photography. Being upstate, I can hike and do photography, or if I'm in the city, I'll play tennis. And
Nice.
recently, I started volunteering at the Wild Bird Fund. So they take in like squirrels and ducks and pigeons and things like that. So I've been learning how to handle those animals and just sort of spending my time there.
That's so cool. I love that. I feel like volunteering is like myself included, like I went to like private Catholic school like all my life growing up. So like volunteering was very much something that was ingrained in us, which I enjoyed, you know. But I feel like as an adult, I just have not there's been so many other things. But I feel like I've heard that kind of frequently of people being like, I really want to get back into volunteering. And yeah, that just reminded me that I need to May put that on my 2026 goals.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into soup kitchens to cook for the people that go there, the shelters.
Yeah.
But I was in Catholic school pretty much the later half of my life, and
Okay.
I feel like you don't appreciate what they try to teach you because you're young and it's there every day. I don't
Sure, yeah.
volunteer all the time, so when I do go, it feels better. It's just like, "Hey, I don't have anything to do on a Sunday, let me go." and volunteer, and then I have a productive Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, and it gets you out doing things and meeting people that you normally, um, wouldn't be doing, if you're just laying around in your house. Not that laying around isn't great sometimes, but if you're trying to get out of the house and meet people potentially for a date, you never know. You could run into somebody at while volunteering.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, not where I am, but, it's fair enough.
Yeah, I guess if you want to date with a duck, that's cool, but otherwise,
I mean, they're cool. They are cool animals, I'll tell you that.
yeah, I love ducks.
They're very smart sometimes, and they're delicious too.
Oh god.
We're coming off of
Hopefully we
Thanksgiving.
yeah.
That's my specialty. I make a duck, so
Yeah, I guess you can't date a vegetarian either. That's kind of
oh, yeah, I guess if we go into deal breakers, yeah, I guess
yeah,
vegetarian
yeah, yeah.
or vegan is one of them.
That's awesome. I This is a side tangent, but have you ever been to the US Open?
I haven't. I'm trying to get there. I could have been a ball boy for them one year, though, funny enough.
Oh, that would
I
have
turned
been
it I turned it down, which now I feel is a stupid thing I should have
what?
done. Yeah, yeah,
Damn.
my freshman year of college started early, so it actually started when the tournament started.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said, "Yeah, I can be a ball boy, but I'm going to school starting this week." And they said, "You gotta pick one." And I
Yeah.
picked school. I was being the good little boy and I picked school.
Yeah. So another thing I see on here is that you're a dad?
I am
Okay.
exploring, I guess, this platform just because I'm ending a marriage and
Mm.
I have kids. So now I'm doing the sort of single dad thing.
Yeah, yeah. That's a big transition.
It is, yeah. It's I'm still trying to find my way in it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully you have a good support system around you, um, that can help with
Yeah, I have my mom is there, and I mean, my kids are a little bit older now, they're kinda easier to
Mhm.
manage, so
Sure.
it's not really that bad, but if I'm not doing all the things that I'm doing, I kinda dedicate my time to my kids, so, like, when I
Mhm.
have them for the week or the weekend or the holiday, it's really just like, let's be a family as much as we can be, given this change.
Yeah. How many kids do you have?
I have a set of twins, and then I have an older daughter, so it's 3.
Gosh.
But the joke was, "Let's make a family of 4, and then we could win a free trip on a game show." And then we had twins, and now we're a family of 5. We don't
Nice.
qualify anymore.
It's a plus one too many.
Exactly, so it would be fun, though, you could play a game, like, which one of you kids was the worst this year? You don't go on vacation.
Yeah,
So
no, that wouldn't be traumatizing for them at all.
yeah, they
It
come back,
wouldn't
"Oh, look what we did on vacation. Be good next year."
yeah. Although I mean, I will say since you're now a single dad, you technically are a family of 4.
Yes,
If
I
you
can
just
go
count
now with all of that.
yeah, if you just count the weeks that you have them, you're a family of 4.
Exactly, which works
Yeah. How has fatherhood changed you, and what is the most rewarding part about being a dad?
out without getting too deep, I guess.
I mean, you can get deep if you want.
I'll frame it this way, I would say, being a dad or just being a parent in general, because I guess this could apply to anybody, but it really lets you I feel like it's a do-over of your childhood, right?
Mm,
So, if you didn't have the best childhood, you would try to give your kid better, or if you had a great childhood, you would just recreate it. So, for me and I have 2 girls, so it's a little bit the dynamic's a little bit deeper, but I've come to really appreciate the chaos of kids and also just the silence of, like,
mm,
'cause my kids now, they can read on their own or watch TV on their own, but even if they're in the living room and I'm in the kitchen, just their presence is a very rewarding thing. Just knowing that they're there and being able to show them things from my childhood that they either can't see or they might be interested in, I think it's very rewarding to me in that.
mm. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
there's
nice having that level. Go ahead.
sorry, no, I was just remembering, but, there's in Astoria in Queens, there's this sort of it's a toy store with retro toys. So when I have the kids, sometimes I take them there and I show them, like, "Here's a transformer from the '80s," or "Here's Alf," like that alien puppet thing, or "Here's Rainbow Bright," right? Like, these are things that, were in the '80s and the early '90s, and when I was a kid, I was still exposed to some of that stuff. So it's just interesting
Mhm.
to get to explain these things to them, and, I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice way to create a stronger bond with your children.
Yeah, and being a kid at heart or treating yourself like a kid at heart, it's good for your life. It helps out with stress, and you get to have more fun with whatever you're doing. So even when I'm by myself, like, what would the kid in me, as long as it's not too unhealthy, what would the kid in me appreciate so I could get to the next day?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's important for adults also to have fun and not take ourselves too seriously because the world is serious enough as is. We
Don't you
still gotta
know?
find the joy. Yeah.
Have you ever seen, that meme? I think it's a meme, but, it's those 2 dinosaurs with the long necks, and one of them is in this lake, and the other one's on the shore. So the dinosaur in the lake is representing adulthood, and he's saying, "Hey, come on in, it's fine." So the smaller dinosaur jumps in, but his neck is so long that at first you think it's fun, and then it's just like bills, work, stress,
Yeah.
alcohol,
Yeah,
tiredness, like
yeah, you're drowning in in all the
yeah,
things.
you're like, "I wanted to be a grown-up so much. What is all this?" You know? Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, the biggest lie I was ever sold as a millennial is people being like, "Oh my gosh, like enjoy your 20s and enjoy college. It's the best years of your life." And I'm like, "This was some bullshit." Cuz I just felt like a teenager but with bills.
Yep, exactly. I'd rather go back to high school actually at this rate.
What was one of the best dates maybe that you didn't plan that you've been on and why?
Oh, that I didn't.
It can be a one that you planned, but if there was one that you didn't plan that stood out.
I'm trying to think about one that I didn't plan, but I
Mm,
did there was one that I planned that was actually really nice. So, and it was in the Hudson Valley, which is kind of funny. But there's this, denominational or non-denominational church slash,
mhm.
museum, like, gallery, and they have a ton of land. They grow, like, their own mushrooms and their own cannabis and everything, and so they have a cafe that
Mm,
infuses. So you can go to the cafe, have, like, a mushroom latte or something. Then you can go to the gallery, which is, like, really trippy, and then their church session is an art meditation. So they play meditative music, and you're allowed to paint or draw or write poetry, whatever it is. You just can't talk. And you
mm.
sit there and you do it for like an hour and a half. And it's not only beneficial to you, but like I was with my date, so we were talking a little bit because we were sharing supplies, but it was just something about being in that mind state, and then she was in that mind state. Like, we didn't say anything, but I felt so close to her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, hallucinogenics will open up some new planes.
It's not enough to get you up there, but it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
pretty decent. And then
yeah.
afterwards, we because we both did drawings and we shared our drawings, and it was like we were in our bag. Like, we went in our feelings and just drew what was there, and then we
Mm.
looked at it later, and we didn't know what was going on, and we had dinner and had to explain it to each other, and it was the best way of trauma dumping without, like, trauma dumping. Right? Like, you're telling them how you feel and what's going on, but they don't feel scared from you when you revealed all that. And it was I don't know, it was just so crazy, like, I loved it. I would go back, so, yeah.
Honestly, I would go send me the address. I'll go. I'll bring my friends and we'll go because that sounds like a lot of fun, honestly.
And I'm not that great of an artist, and some people you can share your work after the meditation, and these some of the
Mhm.
people there were I don't even know how they did it. They did, like, 3 paintings really detailed in an hour or an hour and a half. I was looking at them
Wow.
like, "When did you do that?" They did it in front of me, and it's like it looks like a Picasso, and I'm just sitting there, "You did this at the same time that I was doing my drawing?" So,
Yeah, that's wild.
just I don't know, it was just grounding. It was a very grounding experience, so I that was the best date I had, and so when I try to find people to date, I do ask about their preferences and things like that. So I am intentional with things. So that particular date, she's holistic. She liked art. Her brother was an artist. So I
Mhm.
said, okay, I found this place. Let's go.
How have your perspectives on relationships evolved over time, and what have you learned about yourself as a partner? Maybe super deep, given the
That
fact
is,
that you're ending a marriage, but it can be a learning experience.
it was, I got to look at myself and my dynamic with my ex, and I had to grow up in certain ways, and I had to realize I have my flaws and I'm never going to perfect my flaws. So the most that I can do is not necessarily keep them to myself, but mitigate the damage. Um,
Mm,
and so anything that was bad, I technically regret it, but I can't walk around with that in my head all the time. So
mhm,
there are gonna be moments where I come off the wrong way, or, I might look weak or I might look angry. And it's just, I'm more mindful of how to stop that, but it's always going to leak out at some point. And so I just try to make sure I don't give you my problems. And for me, I sort of expect the same thing from whoever I would be dating. Like, I don't care if you have issues or a rough past or whatever, but please be mindful of what you do before you come meet with me, and I'll be mindful of what I do. And I think that's because my marriage, I had a very like traditional romantic ideal behind it. And then I just realized, especially with kids, we're messed up. We're pretty like we're not perfect.
mm-mm,
I mean, even though like religion or my life coach will say humans are perfect and then we get messed up, but it's like, no, there's a duality to everybody. For everything good we have bad. It's just what we choose to do with it. So I like to think, yeah, I like to think that I'm doing better and that I will always choose to do better. But I just hope that you or whoever it is does the same thing.
yeah, yeah. I think it's, um, like you said, like we are all flawed and we all have different things that we could do better at. And I think it's how you choose to be mindful of those things, and also, like you said, when they come up and or come out and you mess up, it's how you handle that, how, you take accountability and, try to repair the harm that you've caused or the hurt that you've caused. And yeah, hopefully the other person gives you that grace to be human and also want you to continue to be the best self that you can be, which is not, I mean, some people, still get hung up on perfection. Not, that's kind of a
Yeah, I mean,
an already losing game because like perfection doesn't exist. Yeah, I think it's what you do with all the messiness, and if you really care about somebody, you know, like I said, you'll give them that grace, and hopefully you're giving yourself that grace and that forgiveness. Like you said, like you can't just get hung up on the mistakes all the time. At some point, you do have to forgive yourself and move forward and just try to do better.
yeah. So, and I think with relationships, when you boil it down, I think it is just a matter of how much grace and how long you're willing to give it, right? So,
Mhm. Mhm.
unfortunately, I thought with a marriage, I would have that bond where it's like, yeah, no matter what, you'll have that grace. But between myself and my ex, something happened and our fuses ran out. And
Yeah.
that's just, that's all, that's really the best way I could explain it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes even with friendships or family members, whatever type of relationship it is, it's like sometimes the you one person goes this way and the other person goes the other way, or you just for whatever reason can't reconcile the differences, and like things end, and it sucks, It definitely sucks and can be messy, but that also is part of the human experience.
It is. Granted, I'm the type of person that I just restart from 0. So I don't have any animosity, but just for my sake or just how I operate. Like, I
Mhm.
wish you the best, like, leave me alone, like, I'll
Yeah.
leave you alone, I'll go this way, and, you it's hard to do that, like, with, like, kids involved, but, I have my way of doing things, and it's just as long as I don't get in your way and you don't get in mine, I think it's okay, right? So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta figure out what's best for you and your family, and how you operate as you start on this new journey. What qualities do you value in a partner and or sorry, what qualities do you value in a partner now that maybe you didn't prioritize before?
someone that values like a spirituality or a faith, not
Mm,
necessarily full on religion, but something like that. And I think someone that has a better balance with their family. I will admit my family and her family, sometimes they might have been too involved, and I've learned that there's just boundaries you have to lay down. So
mm,
I
mhm.
feel like, because like, I encourage people to go out with their friends and with their cousins or siblings or parents. Like, I'll have like dinner with my mom every now and then. I hang out with my sister just started college in Albany, so I'll go visit her and have lunch. So, like, I appreciate someone that has that value of faith and, having a good boundary with their families, their respective families.
Yeah. So those are things you value now that you didn't necessarily, like, prioritize before.
One of the things I'm learning in this journey is just where to say yes, no, draw the line every now and then.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
more rewarding. Like my sister, now I can see her maybe once every 3 months and it's a more rewarding experience. Or I can confide in my mother and my mother can confide in me, and we don't feel the need to like step on each other's toes or whatever.
Mhm.
So, and my friends are doing the same thing. Like, I can enjoy going out with my friends without us really trying to outdo each other with problems or solutions. It's just, hey, let's just drink and hang out or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Balance is good. I feel like a lot of people can get once they're like dating somebody and or get married and or have children. Obviously, some of those things have to take a little more priority than they did before, but I feel like so many couples get isolated in just themselves, and then, they look around where they're like, "Oh, I don't really have a lot of friends."
Yeah.
Outside of maybe, another married couple, or like, my kids' friends, parents, stuff like that. And I think it's still good to nourish those relationships that you have with your friends or with your family members just as much as you nourish, the relationship with your partner.
Yeah, and so I'm Guyanese and Venezuelan, so like Indian and Latin culture is very family oriented. But one of
Mm,
the things that, especially with my parents being immigrants, one of the things that I've seen is just they're a little too integrated, which can also be
mm,
a detriment.
yeah.
So it's one of those things where I've had to just step back and realize, okay, what is appropriate and what is not appropriate
Mhm.
for my family, and how can I balance that relationship that way?
Yeah, for sure. Have you found since you've been dating, because obviously you have kids. So, like, has that made it more difficult? Is there like a process or maybe like a certain time period that goes by before you introduce somebody to your kids, or your vice versa?
Well, I haven't hit that milestone yet,
Mm.
but I would say maybe a year, I'm guessing.
Mm. Okay.
It is I do make it, like, full disclosure that I have kids and everything, but I try to just work around their schedule when it comes to dating, and I don't really tell my kids that I'm going out with somebody or, even if my date has kids, I don't really pry into their relationship with their children. Not a
Mhm,
and I feel like maybe after a year, it might be more appropriate, like, we could go to a carnival or a picnic or go some like a theme park and my kids will be there, but I
mhm.
haven't hit that milestone yet. So
Sure. Yeah, it's a cross that bridge when you get to it kind of situation.
I will say having the kids makes initial contact and first dates a little bit easier because you just have that you have that disclosure there. Like, "Hey, my schedule is packed," or I can't spend as much time or, is this a deal breaker for you that I have kids? Or because I've dated some women that have children and they just tell me, I have my kids on this week and that week. And I say, oh, cool. I'll plan around it. Oh,
Mhm.
and it is a bonding thing as well. My daughter might like something that their kids like or vice versa. And it helps you break into that a little bit easier.
Yeah. Is that when you say disclosure, like, is it something you put, like, right on your profile, or is it something that you like, once you start talking to somebody, you kind of disclose that up front? Because I know I've seen people, even, like, in my experience on dating apps, there can kind of be 2 different ways about it.
I started by sort of keeping it a secret because I felt if the first date doesn't go well, then there's really no reason to put it out there. There's been a few times where I've gotten close and had really good times, but um it sort of became obligatory for me to say, "Okay, I've seen you a few times, you need to know this."
Mhm.
Now I just have it on my profile, and it kind of helps because it's like an additional filter,
Right.
basically. If I get a match, it's because hopefully you've read my profile. Because sometimes I get people that don't read my profile, but some of the matches I get, they're aware of the situation, and now I know that they're being intentional.
When you think of a future relationship, what does that partnership look like, and what are you hoping to build together with that person?
I'm not 100% sure if I would get married again. I'm still
Mhm.
debating that. But I do wanna share my life with someone, and I want to experience someone else's life as well. I would like us to have our wins. Like, if you have a win, come home and you share it with me, I wanna be excited for you, and vice versa. I would like to do the same.
Mhm.
If you're sick or you're upset, I'd like to be able to dedicate my time to you and commit to you. My ultimate goal is it does sound I don't know if it sounds, like, ideal or cheesy, but I wanna be an old man in a rocking chair on my porch with some coffee, and next to me is my partner also in a rocking chair, like, with tea or
Yeah.
something like that. Like, that's kind of what I would wanna have ultimately, and I just feel like along the way, we can get to that situation.
Yeah, you want somebody to grow old with.
Yeah, I wanna like, when something exciting happens, I want somebody to tell it to. Like, right now, I just tell it to my dog, you know? Like, "Hey, you'll never guess what happened today," and then my dog just looks at me. I'm a dog, I'm not a human, you know? Like, I just wanna have those experiences with somebody, and I want you to have that too. Like, my partner would have to be something, like, with their own independence, but is willing to put me a little bit into their lives that way.
Yeah, for sure. What aspects of your life are you most excited to share with a partner? I mean, like, you kind of just talked about it of, sharing the wins and being able to share your life in that way, but are there, like, sharing your hobbies, like photography and filmmaking or something else?
Ideally, yes, but it's not a you just have to be able to be happy that I'm enjoying my hobby, and if I don't like your hobby, there's no offense, but if I see you happy from it, I will enjoy that as well. Like, when people If I go out on a date and someone tells me they wanna draw, I try to encourage them. Like, in the talking phase, I'll say, "Oh, did you draw something today?" Or, "Did you think about your project?" Or, "Did you write your idea?" Or, if you have a song, "Did you sing your song?" Or something like that.
Mhm.
I try to encourage you that way. If you play tennis or you go to the gym, "How much did you lift today?" Right? Or how hard did you hit the ball today? If you went hiking, like how high did you climb? That's the type of stuff that if I enjoy your hobby, I'll do it with you.
Mhm.
But if not, I'll at least have that curiosity and that intentionality of learning about you that.
Yeah, I think that's really important also of like exactly what you said, just being able to show your partner that support in whatever way that is, whether it is joining them in that experience or, cheering them on from the sidelines, the proverbial sidelines,
Yeah.
or maybe actual sidelines.
That too, yeah, if you want to.
Right, right. Okay. So for our final part of the interview, we're gonna do this game called Finding Balance. So obviously life is all about trying to balance a bunch of different things, especially when you're a parent and you have a vibrant uh career and the dating, all of the stuff. So we want to explore how you think about balance in different areas of your life. Are you
Okay.
down?
Yeah. Let's
Cool.
go.
Okay. So, what I'm going to do is present different scenarios, and then you tell me where you'd find the balance or if perfect balance is even the goal. So, scenario one is the new relationship balance. You're starting to date somebody seriously. How do you balance diving into this new connection while still being present for your kids? And what does healthy balance look like there?
I would start off with just a discussion with my kids about I'll always be there for them, but I need to just explore. And I found someone that I like and I want to be happy with them.
Hmm.
And however they take it, I'll try to alleviate it, is how they take it. But I'd be more concerned about the relationship because I would want to ensure or reassure that my partner that I'm technically a parent first, but that doesn't mean I won't be there for you.
Mm.
And after a certain amount of time, which we kinda touched on it earlier, but, like, about a year, you know, I would like to integrate all of you together, so and that's, like, a thing to look forward to. I'm actually excited for the day that I can say, "Hey, this new partner makes your dad happy, and I wanna share her with" I would say this
Yeah.
so I think that's something to look forward to, but the balance just comes from I can dictate my time. The kids can't really dictate their time, I have to dictate their time, so I would just need the grace from my partner. "Hey, I have my kids every week or every other week," or whatever it is. Like, "What can you and I do?" Even if it's something little, like just get coffee. Like,
Yeah.
what can we do to ensure that we keep this energy in the relationship?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Scenario two is vulnerability versus protection. So, when you're dating again after your divorce, there's a balance between being open and vulnerable versus protecting yourself from potential hurt. How do you personally feel like you have found that balance or are still trying to find that balance?
It's a little hard to still try to find that balance, but,
Mm.
so I've gone through this phase where initially it was trauma dumping, but now, like, if people ask me, like, "Oh, why did your relationship end?" or whatever, I'm able to translate it. So
Mhm.
I'm very open and honest and vulnerable from the jump, like, I'll tell you, "Hey, this didn't work out because of XYZ. This is who I am and I'm still working on." And I
Mhm.
kinda just leave it in their court. Like, I put my ball in their court, and that's kinda just what it is. I don't see the point in masking something or just coming off guarded, it's just as long as I'm not, like, yelling or crying at you, I think I'm like, I try to just be open about things, so and whenever I explain something, it's not to trauma dump. I don't maybe it's how I explain it, I don't know, but I'm getting better at that. So if I do talk to someone, I have to reiterate, I'm not here to give you my baggage. I'm just explaining things to you.
Sure. Yeah. Just being honest. Yeah. Okay. Scenario 3 is your needs versus their needs. In a relationship, how do you find or how do you balance prioritizing your partner's needs with making sure your own needs are met? And where is the line between compromise and losing yourself?
That's where I feel like hobbies and friends come in.
Mm,
I would encourage my partner, if you had a bad day and you want to blow off some steam or hang out with your friends, or if there's something you want to gossip about that you can't tell me, I encourage that because then when you come home or when we see each other the next time, you would have regulated yourself.
mm,
I try to regulate myself as much as possible, especially even with my kids. Like I try to regulate my kids and I try to regulate myself. So I think there just has to be that sense of independence on both sides. Unless you know that I can satisfy your needs or I know that you can satisfy mine, then maybe we could do it together. But if there's still some trouble, don't take it the wrong way because not everybody's going to fulfill every one of your needs.
exactly. So important. Say it again.
I mean, it's one of the, it's one of the things I regret about the marriage ending was, like, I tried so hard to regulate myself, and then I ran in to help my ex, and, like, I couldn't keep it up because it turns out, you know, things were deeper than what we thought they were.
Mm,
And my pastor, I had started going back to church after the whole thing happened, and my
hmm
pastor told me, even my therapist, he would say, um, "You can only fulfill everything that you can do. I can only control what's like what this is.
hmm
I can have the intention, the good intentions to help you, and I can try. But if you don't reach deep down inside yourself and find a way to pull yourself out, my hand's never like I could reach my hand out to you. It's never gonna reach deep enough.
Mm,
Right? Like, and I don't have a rope or a ladder or I can't extend my
yeah.
arm longer. Right? And then I might fall off. I might fall off that cliff too. Or whatever the metaphor is. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, regulation is super important and also, yeah, being able like we kind of talked about this earlier of like, not so getting lost in each other and trying to fulfill every single need because we all have limitations and strengths and weaknesses. And so it is important to have other people in your life that, maybe are better at listening or are better at giving advice. And it's not that like you can't share things or, get through things with your partner. But, if you genuinely know, like, hey, Anil's, not the best at like XYZ or whatever, like, I just need extra support in this way, maybe while he works on becoming a little better on whatever it is or yeah, it's good to have that self-awareness.
Yeah, I tell my friends sometimes too, if I don't mean to push you away if it looks like that. But if you come to me with something and I can't fully understand it, it's not because I don't want to or I don't like you. It's just this is the best that I can do and I'm working on it. So
Mhm.
whether it's my mom or my sister or my friends or anyone else I date, is like maybe someone else would be better equipped for this. And then if that's a deal breaker, I mean, that's like we all have our thing.
Yeah. For sure. All right. Scenario number 4 is fast versus slow. Some people want to take things slow and build gradually. Others feel like when you know, you know. How do you balance following your gut with being intentional and maybe cautious?
That's funny because there's different styles in different countries.
Yeah.
Like
Good
I don't
point.
know if you heard about the Japanese way, but you go on 3 dates and then you like ask to go steady, I guess is the way they would refer to it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called, I think kohaku, so you go out on 3 dates, and then after the 3rd date, you say, "Hey, do you wanna be my boyfriend or my girlfriend?" And there's no hard feelings, if they say no, but that's sort of like how they do it.
Mm.
But then if you're in Norway, you kinda just sleep with the person on the 1st date, so it's like, that's another way of doing it.
Yeah, yeah, there's no one way because there's so many people.
I would just say, it's I go through this with technically with therapy and coaching and things like that, but if you find a way to center yourself, but they pop into your mind every now and then, I think that's a healthy form of connection. So I would
Mhm,
just say like if you can't plan a date with somebody, just send them a message or give them a phone call every now and then and just say, "Hey, like, I'm still thinking of you," or "I'd like to get to know you more," or "Hey, I thought about you for this. Let's try it," right?
mhm,
I think, especially being older, there's really no reason to put a label on like boyfriend or girlfriend. It's kind of just like, I'm looking for that person to really be with. And if it takes a while, it takes a while. So,
sure, yeah,
yeah. Maybe when you're younger, you want to get married or do everything quick. But now it's just like, hey, I have other things I need to do or take care of. And if you want to be in my life, I'm willing to open that door for you and let you be there.
mhm, yeah, for sure. Okay, no, I'm gonna skip number 5 because we've talked about it so much, actually, it's like independence versus partnership, and I feel
Cool.
like you've given your answer on that one. So I'm gonna skip to scenario 6, which is past versus present, which we've also kind of talked a little bit about. How do you balance learning from past relationship experiences without letting them create walls or assumptions in new relationships? How do you stay open?
Journaling has helped me with that.
Mm,
It's just it's a way of regulating myself and remembering how like what certain feelings are. So I've been able to identify these things. But it's also like I have a life coach and my pastor and I have a therapist. So sometimes I'll just shoot the breeze with them. Like,
mhm,
hey, this I remembered this from the past. Can you help me analyze it? Or I feel this way, but I don't feel bad about it.
mhm,
So it's a lot of times it's just sort of writing things down, re-examining it, and sometimes you write things down and you lock it away. Like it takes the energy out, it takes the emotion out, and then you put it somewhere where you don't see it, and then you can move on from a with a fresh perspective.
mhm, yeah, sorry. That's city life. Let's see. Okay, scenario 7 is romance versus reality. Dating with kids means you can't always be spontaneous. You know all of the schedules and bedtimes and all the things. How do you balance keeping romance alive while also living in the reality of your daily life?
Well, so that's why I like curating dates.
Mm,
I've actually gotten better at having somewhat more meaningful dates because I have limited time. So I really try to curate it. Back then it's like, "Hey, you wanna get a drink or you wanna have some dinner?" And you do it maybe 2 days in advance, right? But now it's with all the schedule, like, now it's Christmas time in NYC, so it's, "Do you wanna go ice skating?" Right? Like, "Here's the tickets, here's the days. Oh, there's a pop-up shop this day when we could go ice skating the same time." So I actually prefer it. I like to have just the quality over the quantity.
yeah, for sure. Okay, next scenario is your happiness versus others' opinions. So since you started dating, sometimes family and friends have opinions, and how do you balance considering their perspectives while ultimately following your own heart? Which I feel like you kind of talked about with the boundary setting.
Yeah, that kind it depends on like everyone's different. If you have a healthier relationship with your family, then their opinion is genuinely more they're concerned about you and they want you to be happy.
Mhm,
If you have a negative or not such a great one, you would have to draw that boundary and that line. Some women that I've dated, and my ex ended up being one of them, didn't really get along with my family.
mhm,
And at first I didn't care, but I realized family's kind of important to me.
yeah,
So anyone I would date now is like, I just want you to be able to get along. And as long as there's no issues. In terms of coworkers or other people, your happiness is your happiness. As long as you're not hurting anybody, you have the right to do that or to do what
Sure.
you want
Yeah.
or feel the way you want.
Next scenario is fun versus serious. Dating should be fun, hopefully. But when you're looking for something real and lasting, it also requires serious intention. How do you balance keeping things light and enjoyable while also being purposeful? Again, I think I feel like you've really touched on all of these things we're talking about.
I would just say it's when you have a really good time, you actually connect in a more serious way.
Mm,
Like, and I don't mean like you learn about their past or anything, but it's usually something like when you go to dinner, watching, like finding out what their favorite food is, or
mhm,
oh, something I like to do is when we look at the menu together, I tell them if I see something I like on the menu, I tell them a story about, oh, like my grandma used to cook this, or my mom had these incense that smelled like this, and it's or like what's your favorite color, right?
mhm.
My favorite color is blue. Why? Because of blueberries. And then I say, oh, well, here's a story about blueberries, right?
Sure.
If you have that lightheartedness, you can actually dig deeper easier. So
Yeah, it's not just about like being on an inter or being at an interview. It's kind of like, the art of observation and yeah, trying to just listen to people and see where you can find similar experiences and stuff like that.
yeah, and I tend to share a lot about myself to try and get that started. So
Mhm.
like one of my favorite alcohols is rum. Like I drink it's not very good for you, but I'll drink rum. But there's a song that's like in the Caribbean about this guy with rum, and like it's always in my head. So I feel like if I lower my guard and share that story, it should get you to hopefully be reciprocal about.
Okay, last scenario is self improvement versus self acceptance. So there's value in working on yourself and growing, but there's also value in accepting yourself as you are. How do you balance wanting to be better with knowing you're already enough?
I liken that to careers. I think nowadays everybody tries to be a specialist.
Mm,
The future is being a generalist. If you're adaptable and you keep an open mind, even if your skill level is at a 3, you can say, "Hey, well, I read this or I learned about this. I don't know too much, but I'd be willing to do more."
hmm
Versus if you just focus on one thing, it kinda shuts you off to everything else, and I feel like you're not accepting of it.
mm,
And then you get jaded, like, if somebody doesn't pick you for something, you go, "Oh, well, why didn't they pick me?" Well, I mean, if you this other guy's a 3 at something and you don't know anything, well, I'd rather have the 3 because at least they're willing to learn. It's possible to balance both, but I think you should just focus on being a generalist and just learning what you can and as much as you can all the time.
okay. Um, Anil, it was so wonderful meeting you and getting to know you and your dating philosophy and outlook on life. Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
This was really refreshing. I did have a blast with it, so I'm glad I got to be on here. So thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you. That is it for our interview with Anil. Check us out on EligibleIn.com and reach out to us if you want to be our next guest or if you'd like to nominate a friend to be a guest. We would love to have you on. You can email hello@EligibleIn.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to Eligible In, a production of Eligible In Media. Our theme song is by Monster Rally. If you see someone you like on our show, or if you would like to nominate yourself or someone you love to be interviewed by us, please visit us at EligibleIn.com for more information, including a link to subscribe to our newsletter, where you can stay up to date on our newest episodes, as well as exclusive features of our eligible people.
Lovely.